Making the headlines tonight. Prime Minister Hun Sen has announced that the north of Cambodia will be considered the rising star of the north after development in the area has increased significantly. Prime Minister Hun Sen wants to try lifting the mandate on wearing masks in a province or two to see the outcome, as majority of people have been vaccinated. Dead civilians lay scattered over the streets in Bucha days after invading Russia. Army pulled back from its abortive advance on nearby Kiev. Teenage Anna Davis wins an Augusta National Women's Amateur Golf Tournament on Saturday the 2nd of April. This is the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Anthony Ellis. Prime Minister Hun Sen has announced that the north of Cambodia will be considered the rising star of the north after development in the area has increased significantly. He has made this announcement while paying an inspection visit at the construction site of the new Siem Reap International Airport on Sunday. EAC News reporter Darshana Guchan has more.
While inspecting the site of the new Siem Reap International Airport, Prime Minister Hun Sen said that it was time to declare the north of the country as the rising star of the north, which includes the provinces of Siem Reap, Odar Minche, Kampong Thom, and a part of Previer province. He said it was time to make this declaration because significant progress had been made in this area, particularly in connection between Phnom Penh and Siem Reap, and from Siem Reap to Banteay Minche and Battambang provinces. He added that a lot has been invested in Siem Reap's buildings and infrastructure, including the new international airport, which has served to develop the north area.
Cá đại dương đã tuân giang trán chôl tư ti rung khai Siem Reap có sang đời hết tha ra chana sầm pon trô trung đo lò đời không ti rung khai đã sầm pôn nơi cái này đúng dương cầm pung từ sang sang nơi ở các sự dân là than on tra chiết nát dịa nơi khai Siem Reap đi đối này vía bẩm ra oi ca apivot nơi đồng bọn đo đại khốn nu ai crop tận đó khai Siem Reap ở đó mới chơi bắt được bỏ có phong thô hỏi ai phải mua được khai Previer cứ pol cả này.
The Prime Minister also clarified that Cambodia is divided into three poles: the capital city of Phnom Penh, which is the heart and central administration of the country; Pria Sihanouk province, which is the sea tourism pole and the rising star of the southwest; and Siem Reap province, which is the cultural tourism pole and the rising star of the north. He further added that in the coming days there will also be the announcement of the fourth pole, which will be the rising star of the northeast, comprising of the provinces of Kratche, Mondulkiri, and Ratanakiri and Stung Treng. Darshana Gauchan, EAC News.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has said he wants to try lifting the mandate on wearing masks in one or two provinces to know how effectively herd immunity has been established. The community service in Cambodia has successfully vaccinated a significant percentage of its population. Speaking of the inauguration ceremony of the official use of city-out roads in Siem Reap on Monday morning, Prime Minister Hun Sen said he was permitted people to travel and celebrate again during the upcoming Khmer New Year. But this is not as to test the people, but rather to know how efficiently herd immunity has been established in Cambodia. He also expressed the desire to test out lifting the mask-wearing mandate in the province to see what the effects would be.
Việc chụp này đấy chẳng bớt là việc cua đã xa là bỏ ồ mà thà việc vô khai mùi ồ tôi thật Previer cho vô Previer việc áo nơi không khai đau nơi không khai tức mình chăm bạch việc mà còn tay vào trên bị khai nâng chôl máu tức đây khai Siem Reap ឬឧត្តមមេជ័យត្រូវតែពាក់ម៉ាស់ប៉ុន្តែបើសិនជាថាយើងលើកលែងទាំងឧត្តមមេជ័យទាំងព្រះវិហារពេលឆ្លងពីព្រះវិហារមកឧត្តមមេជ័យមិនបាច់ពាក់ម៉ាស់អ្នកឧត្តមមេជ័យទៅព្រះវិហារមិនបាច់ពាក់ម៉ាស់ប៉ុន្តែបើឆ្លងចូលដីសៀមរាបភ្លាមត្រូវតែពាក់ម៉ាស់ចឹងខ្ញុំចង់បន្តព្រោះប្រទេសមួយចំនួនបានលើកលែងបំរាមនៃការពាក់ម៉ាស់តាមទីធ្លាសាធារណៈរួចស្រេចទៅហើយនៅក្នុងពេលដែលគេមានជំងឺយ៉ាងធ្ងន់
The Prime Minister confirmed that he is still observing the situation to make an informed decision regarding this case, and that as long as there is no official announcement released, citizens should continue wearing masks. Prime Minister Hun Sen has announced that the Cambodian government will not allow Cambodia's heritage to lose its UNESCO World Heritage status, as the royal government of Cambodia will continue to adhere by UNESCO guidelines. He made this statement while speaking at the inauguration ceremony of the official use of 38 roads in Siem Reap on Monday morning. EAC News reporter Decky Nin has more details.
During the inauguration ceremony of the official use of 38 roads in Siem Reap, the Prime Minister instructed real estate investor Kim Hieng to stop criticizing the authorities for not allowing the construction of skyscrapers in Siem Reap. He reiterated that the ban on the construction of skyscrapers in the province is to protect the World Heritage status of the Angkor area, as instructed by UNESCO's guidelines, which restricts the building of high-rise buildings in such close proximity. The Prime Minister stressed that it is not only in Siem Reap, but also other areas on the World Heritage list that are subject to the same rules. The Prime Minister further added that there is no shortage of real estate market areas in the country, so please do not go to the heritage registered area. He also urged UNESCO and its Cambodian heritage conservation parties not to worry about the guidelines being breached, as the government would not allow this to ever happen. There are currently 3 sites in Cambodia which have been declared World Heritage Sites by UNESCO: the Angkor Wat Temple, Sambo Prey Kuk Temple, and Previhir Temple. Currently, Cambodia also lists 8 other properties, including temples, ancient sites, and the Tua Slang Genocide Museum, on its tentative World Heritage list, a list which is maintained on sites that the country may seek for nomination. Dekanin, EAC News.
The 30 roads projects with a total road length of 108.74 kilometres and 248.72 kilometres of rainwater drainage systems, parks and other physical infrastructure, Siem Reap was officially inaugurated under the presidency of the Prime Minister Hun Sen on Monday morning. The construction took 13 months from the 30th of November 2020 to the end of 2021. EAC News reporter Decky Nin has the story.
Speaking at the inauguration ceremony of the new infrastructure in Siem Reap, the chairman of the Interministerial Commission responsible for infrastructure management in the province and Minister of National Defense, Deputy Prime Minister Thiet Banh, said that these roads play an important role in promoting infrastructure, reducing congestion, attracting investors, and national and international tourists, which all contributed to turning Siem Reap into a modern city and core area of the national economy, as well as a prime tourist destination for culture, heritage, history, and nature. Deputy Prime Minister Thiep Banh said the infrastructure of the 38 roads have a beautiful appearance in the land of Angkor, and at this time act as another glorious achievement built by the work of Khmer people. It is a precious gift of the royal government of Cambodia to all the people in Siem Reap and people across the country for general and long-term use. The 38 roads construction project also installed a network of rainwater and sewage lines along the road and connected the rainwater and sewage system from people's homes to the main sewer on the 38 roads, including the construction of parking on both sides of National Road Number 6 with a total length of 2,190 meters. Furthermore, the project has added flood protection systems to prevent flooding in the city, roadside lighting poles, traffic lights, cables, transmission lines, sidewalks, roads for persons with disabilities, bicycle lanes, parking lots, traffic signs, security camera systems, gardens, and trees planted along the roadside. When presented with this new achievement, people in Siem Reap said that the province has now changed almost completely from before. They said the new infrastructure made it easier for them to travel, safer, and faster.
When I was little, around my house there were not many houses. All the forest around before was scary compared to now, which is very different. Now the road is clean and new trees are planted and it looks really good.
I'm very excited that the Prime Minister came and built all these new roads, lighting systems and security cameras. All are very good, no flaws that I can see. Because of this road, I can travel anywhere at night. It's easy, bright lights and everywhere.
The road is new and easy, but I urge all citizens not to drive too fast. That is, we are better protected than treated.
The 38 roads infrastructure project cost more than $149 million of the national state budget to build, including an additional $4 million provided by Prime Minister Hun Sen to expedite the completion of the project. Prime Minister Hun Sen said at the inauguration ceremony on Monday morning that he was proud that all 38 roads and integrated infrastructure in Siem Reap came from pure Khmer work, both from funding and ideas for construction. The Prime Minister expects that after COVID-19 pandemic is alleviated, tourists will return to enjoy a new Siem Reap province, which will increase the tourism and economic potential for Siem Reap as well as Cambodia as a whole.
ខ្ញុំពិតជាមានមោទនភាពនៅពេលដែលខ្ញុំបានដើរពិនិត្យការពីម្សិលមិញម្សិលមួយថ្ងៃនៅហេដ្ឋារចនាសម្ព័ន្ធនៅក្នុងទីក្រុងរបស់យើងនេះវាមិនមែនជាការងាយស្រួលទេក៏ប៉ុន្តែភាពឆ្លៀសវៃរបស់អ្នកដឹកនាំហើយជាពិសេសគឺក្រុមបញ្ញវន្តវ័យក្មេងជាអ្នកបច្ចេកទេសបានប្រឹងប្រែងដែលខ្ញុំសូមយកឱកាសនេះកោតសរសើរចំពោះក្មួយៗទាំងឡាយដែលបានចូលរួមកសាងនោះហើយជាស្នាដៃកូនខ្មែរហើយយើងនិយាយបានថាខ្មែរធ្វើបាននៅគ្រប់ទីកន្លែង
The construction of the 38 roads take into account the technical standards and road maps, the distribution of priority lanes in accordance with the urban landscape, harmony, urbanization, water-friendly forests, and ancient temples. The new infrastructure is also in line with the Siem Reap Municipal Land Use Master Plan and the Siem Reap Tourism Development Master Plan Vision 2035. Dekanin, EAC News.
Cambodia has reported 35 new COVID-19 cases, none of which are imported. There have been 133 patient recoveries and no new deaths. The Kingdom has now recorded 15,241 cases of Omicron, 1,353 imported and 13,908 community cases. Cambodia's COVID-19 case tally has now climbed up to 135,782. The death toll stands at 3,054. The number of patients treated successfully since the pandemic reached Cambodia is 132,201, and the tally for imported cases climbed up to 21,210. Healthcare workers are currently treating a total of 451 patients. Now for a look at the news making international headlines this Monday, the 4th of April.
At least 16 people were killed and another 8 to 10 people went missing in heavy rains that hit the Brazilian state of Rio de Janeiro, local authorities said on Sunday. The heavy rainfall caused landslide on the road between the city of Rio de Janeiro and the city of Angra dos Reis, one of the hardest hit areas. The Rio state government has blocked vehicles from entering the area. Fernando Jordao, mayor of Angra dos Reis, said on social media on Sunday that the city has decided to shut down the Angra nuclear power plant because local rescue forces couldn't guarantee the safe operation of the plant anymore. He also asked the Brazilian Ministry of Infrastructure to take immediate actions to ensure the nuclear plant's safety. Since March 31st, heavy downpours have continued to batter the southern part of the Rio state. Angra dos Reis had received 655 milliliters of rainfall in the past 48 hours, the highest amount ever recorded in the city. The rain was quite heavy, with the entire city almost submerged by the flood and the whole valley filled by landslides. Power also went out last night. We were in total darkness, said a resident in Angra dos Reis. I've never seen such a heavy rain before in the place where I lived for 30 years. Because of the rain, many houses collapsed one by one, said another resident in Angra dos Reis. According to Brazil's National Weather Service, more rains are expected in the Rio de Janeiro area and other areas in the coming days, and authorities have issued alerts for floods and mudslides.
Pope Francis on Sunday, the 3rd of April, repeated that he was ready to make a trip to the Ukraine capital, Kyiv, but added that he had yet to decide if it would be feasible. He was speaking to journalists on the plane returning from Malta. In a speech on Saturday, Francis implicitly criticised Putin over the invasion, saying to Pontinate was fomenting conflict for the national interest. Francis had strongly commended what he has called an unjustified aggression and denounced autocracies, but he has only referred to Russia directly in prayers, such as during a special global event on peace on 25th of March. He said he would like to meet this year with Patriarch Kirill of the Russian Orthodox Church, whose support for the war has split the worldwide Orthodox community. During the Malta trip, the 85-year-old Pope was suffering from a flare-up and a knee pain due to inflammation ligament that forced him to use lifts out to board and dismark planes. He also had to sit for parts of long of Mass on Sunday. My health is a bit compatibilous, he said in response to a question. Francis stood for about 20 minutes speaking to journalists while on the plane and did not appear to be any discomfort. Pope Francis, on whether he is planning a trip to Kyiv, said, "I'm always available. There is not a no. I am available. What do we think about the trip?" The question was made to me like this. "We heard you were thinking about the trip to Ukraine." I said, "It's on the table. It is there among the proposals, but I don't know if I will be possible. It would be useful to do it. If doing it would bring any improvement, if it is useful to do it, and if I must do it. All this is up in the air. For a while we have been thinking of the meeting with Patriarch Kirill. We are working on this. We are thinking about doing it in the Middle East."
And although the war is still raging in Ukraine, in the southern port city of Odessa, musicians are responding to the miseries of war with their most powerful weapons, songs and dance. A microphone, a guitar, a piano, and a balcony are all the artists need to fill the city's streets with their tunes as dozens of people gathered to listen on Saturday, 2nd April. Accompanied by his guitar, singer Roman Kapitanov entertained his audience with Ukrainian songs, his passion obvious from his smile. "I am very happy that I can do this here and really happy that there are people for who I can sing, because it is not a really simple situation now," he said. "Here in Odessa, we have to be strong enough to protect ourselves here because we are the owners of the city." Perron No. 7 Jazz Club is open for activists and musicians helping the community and willing to share their art. Yaroslav Trofimov, the club's owner and a singer himself, is worried about the expansion of war, but said he wanted to do his part. "We are here in Odessa totally into this war. We are checking the news 40 times per day. We are expecting something bad to happen every second," he told Reuters. "Our goal right now is to give people 1 hour when they can feel they are still living a normal life," he added, before showing off his singing talent from the balcony. The music fever also spread to the nearby market, where dozens of people danced to a lively tune. Members of singer Victoria Shostak's family are stuck in Kherson and can't leave the city. She feels helpless but still wanted the show to go on. Having not performed in public for 2 months, she needed a quick check of her lyrics before stepping onto the balcony, taking the microphone and entertaining passers-by with her songs. The music does provide a bit of relief from the conflict, but Russia's defense ministry said missile strikes by its military destroyed an oil refinery and 3 fuel storage facilities in the city on Sunday.
Sacramento Mayor Darrell Swinburne said Sunday, 3rd of April, that the thoughts and prayers are not merely enough after 6 people were killed and 10 injured in an early morning shooting on a Sacramento streets busy with relatives, and police had said they were searching for suspects with no one in custody.
How many unending tragedies does it take before we begin to cure the sickness in this country? Let us be honest, this is a sickness. The fact that we accept the idea that people can have ready access to assault weapons to weapons of destruction and can indiscriminately use them however and wherever they want, Steinberg said. The shooting occurred at about 2 a.m. Pacific time, Lester said, near the Golden One Center, an arena where the Sacramento Kings basketball team plays and concerts takes place. People could be seen hurling themselves on the ground after gunshots rang out in downtown Sacramento, the site of a mass shooting on Sunday morning. Gerard Smith was driving through the area when he heard the shots. People just started diving down on the ground and falling down. And the next thing I know, someone fell in front of my truck. I was trying to get out of the way. Hours later, Smith realized there was a bullet hole in the side of his truck and his front light was broken. 6 people were killed and 10 injured in an early morning shooting on street busy with revelers, and police said they were still searching for suspects with no one in custody.
This morning, our city has a broken heart. This is a senseless and unacceptable tragedy, and I emphasize the word unacceptable. Thoughts and prayers, of course, are appropriate for the victims and their families and the people who are still who are fighting for their lives now in the hospital. But thoughts and prayers are not nearly enough as a state and as a nation. This senseless epidemic of gun violence must be addressed. How many unending tragedies does it take before we begin to cure the sickness in this country? Let us be honest, this is a sickness. The fact that we accept the idea that people can have ready access to assault weapons, to weapons of destruction, and can indiscriminately use them however and wherever they want, that is not just an exception. It happens far too often. It is a sickness in our culture, and we must do everything we can to heal that sickness. We do not know the facts, and we're not here actually to comment on the investigation. That's the role of the Sacramento Police Department.
Dead civilians lay scattered over the streets of the Ukraine country town of Buchan on Saturday, 2nd of April. 3 days after invading Russia, army pulled back an abortive advance on nearby Kiev. The smell of explosives still hung in the cold, dank air, mingling with the stench of death. 66-year-old Vasily, who gave no surname, looked into the sprawled remains of more than a dozen civilians dotted along the roadside outside his house, face cast with grief. Residents said their neighbours had been killed under the fire from the Russian troops during the month-long occupation. A body lay near Vasily in the middle of the road, a few metres from his front door. Vasily said it was his son's godfather, a lifelong friend. Bucha still unburied dead wore no uniforms. There were civilians with bikes, their stiff hands still gripping bags of shopping. Some had clearly been dead for many days, if not weeks. The bastards, Vasily said, weeping with rage in a thick coat of woolen hat. The tank behind me was shooting dogs. Local officials gave Reuters reporters access to the area, and the policemen led its way through the streets, now patrolled by Ukrainian tanks, to the road where the bodies lay. It was not clear why they had not yet been buried. Mayor Anthony Fedoruk said more than 300 residents of the town had been killed. and a mass grave in the grounds of the church was still open, with hands and feet poking through the red clay heaped on top. Several streets were strewn with the mangled wrecks of burnt-out Russian tanks and armoured vehicles. Unexploded rockets lay on the road, and in one spot an unexploded mortar shell poked out of its tarmac. A column of Ukraine tanks patrolled, flying blue and yellow national flags. The Kremlin and the Russian Defense Ministry of Moscow did not immediately reply to the request for comment. A local resident, Maya Zalogsova, 74, said, "It was very scary. Twice I returned from the dead. Once a bullet hit the window and broke the glass and landed in the closet. The second time a piece of shrapnel nearly missed my leg. The third time I was walking and didn't know he was there with a machete gun. He fired but missed me. I come home. I was speechless. I was beside myself. Those were the events. Besides, it was scary. I feared for the lives of my children." Bacha Mayor Anatoly Frederick said, "Yes, the situation you're describing is typical of the armed conflict zone. The town of Bacha faced military action and the enemy left their guns for us and fierce fighting. Given their inhumane treatment, including that of civilians, I will give an example. Corpses of executed people still live in line of the Yablonska street in Bacha. Their hands are tied behind their backs with white civilian rags. They were shot in the back and of their heads. So you can imagine what kind of lawfulness they pretended to hear. We will record this page of our history and it will be used at their tribunal, but I wouldn't like to talk about it now. You should understand what emotion and relief we are feeling now." Sri Lanka's police used tear gas to disperse protesters in the city of Paradania as they demonstrated over the severe economic crisis on Sunday the 3rd of April, defying a nationwide curfew.
Sri Lanka's police used tear gas to disperse protesters in the city of Paradania as they demonstrated over a severe economic crisis on Sunday, April 3rd, defying a nationwide curfew. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa declared a state of emergency on Friday, April 2nd, as the Indian Ocean island nation grapples with rising prices, shortages of essentials, and rolling power cuts. On Saturday, the government implemented a countrywide curfew after protests turned violent. On Sunday afternoon, the government lifted a block it had placed on social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp hours earlier. Critics say the roots of the crisis, the worst in several decades, lie in economic mismanagement by successive governments that amassed huge budget shortfalls and a current account deficit. The crisis was accelerated by deep tax cuts Rajapaksa promised during the 2019 election campaign and enacted months before the COVID-19 pandemic, which wiped out parts of Sri Lanka's economy.
After the break, a look at all the latest sports news.
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
Alex Espargaro claimed his maiden MotoGP win at the Argentina Grand Prix on Sunday the 3rd of April to move up to the top of the championship after the intense rider also gave Aprilia their first ever victory in MotoGP era.
Alex Espargaro claimed his maiden MotoGP win at the Argentine Grand Prix on Sunday to move to the top of the championship after an intense ride which also gave Aprilia their first victory in the MotoGP era. Pole sitter Espargaro, competing in his 200th MotoGP race, was overtaken before the first turn after Premac's Jorge Martin had a perfect launch off the line, as both riders managed to give away and build a 2-second gap on the rest of the field. The two traded places repeatedly at the front, but Espargaro finally reclaimed the lead when he made an overtaking move stick with 5 laps to go, while the battle also allowed Suzuki's Alex Rins to cut the deficit to less than a second. But Espargaro held on to take the checkered flag at the Termas de Rio Honda circuit ahead of Martin, while Rins finished third for an all-Spanish podium. The result also ensured 9 different riders have finished on the podium after 3 races this season, underlining how open the 2022 season has been. The emotions got the better of Espargaro, who broke down in tears in the paddock as he spoke to his family over the phone, while his younger brother and Honda rider Pol also came by to embrace him. "I'm very happy. It's been a long time. It was my 200th GP in the Premier class," an emotional Alex Espargaro said in a post-race interview. Espargaro had dominated Saturday's practice before claiming his first MotoGP pole, and the 32-year-old said he was under double the pressure to deliver. Alex Espargaro leads the championship with 45 points, 7 ahead of KTM's Brad Binder, who finished 6th. Second place for Martin also gave him his first points of the season after retirements in the first 2 rounds in Qatar and Indonesia. Honda, competing without Marc Marquez this weekend, were left frustrated when his replacement rider Stefan Bradl finished 19th, while Pol Espargaro made an error in turn 2 and crashed out of the race. Reigning champion Fabio Quartararo of Yamaha started 6th on the grid, but he struggled and even dropped down to 13th at one point before recovering to finish 8th. Meanwhile, in Moto2, Celestino Vietti increased his overall lead in the World Championship with the second victory of the season in Argentina. The Muni VR64 Racing Team rider was 1.538 seconds faster than Somkiat Chantra, who achieved a double podium with his Idemitsu Honda Team Asia teammate Ai Ogura. Pole sitter Fermin Aldeguer of MB Conveyors Speed Up crashed out after coming into contact with Vietti at turn 13. The winner of Moto3 was decided on the final lap as pole sitter Sergio Garcia of Solo Union Gasgas Aspar team worked his way up from P3 to P1 to take his first win of the season in Argentina. The victory means Garcia moves into the lead in the World Championship. Leopard Racing's Dennis Foggia finished second, 0.146 seconds behind Garcia. Despite a long lap penalty, Ayumi Sasaki of Sterile Garda Husqvarna Max managed to complete the podium.
I'm very happy, it's been a long time to arrive here. Actually, it was a special race because it was my 200th GP in the Premier class. everything was set and ready. I mean, I was strong, I had the pace, but the pressure was double, you know, because everybody was saying to me it's gonna be easy and wasn't. So I'm very happy.
Teenager Anna Davis won the Augusta National Women's Amateur Golf Tournament on Sunday the 2nd of April. The 16-year-old high school sophomore from California, who was part of the Junior Solheim Cup and the Junior Ryder Cup teams, ended the final round with a 3 under 69, meaning she finished at 1 under at 215. Davis finished ahead of Latana Stone, who had looked certain to win, but fell short in the final 2 holes in Augusta National Golf Club. The LSU junior had a 2-shot lead with 2 holes to play after the 6th birdie of the ground on the 16th, but she 3-putted for a double bogey on the 17th and then missed on the 15-foot par putt on the 18th and would have forced the playoff. Ingrid Limbard joined her LSU teammate in a tie for the second after securing the best final round with a 4 under of 68. Florida State Beatrice Wallen, who was tied with the Stone at the start of the final round, went on to tie for the 4th with a 73, alongside Benedetta Moresco 71 and Amory Avery 72. Russian Danny Medvedev will be out of action for 1 to 2 months as he goes under the knife to fix a hernia problem, the world number 2 said on Saturday the 2nd of April, casting a doubt over his participation over next month's French Open.
Medvedev, who won the US Open last year and lost in the Australian Open final to Rafael Nadal in January, will likely miss out on this month's Monte Carlo Masters as well as the ATP 1000 events in Madrid and Rome in May. The last months, I have been playing with a small hernia. Together with my team, I have decided to have a small procedure done to fix the problem, world number 2 Medvedev wrote on Twitter. I will likely be out for the next 1 to 2 months and will work hard to be back on court soon. Thanks for all the support. Medvedev's bid to reclaim the world's number 1 ranking fell short on Thursday as the Russian lost 7-6, 6-3 to Poland's Hubert Hurkacz in the Miami Open quarterfinals. The French Open will be held in Paris from May 22 to June 5th.
Now let's look at the weather and what you can expect for tomorrow. Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup here on the EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, check our websites eacnews.asia or search EAC News on Telegram, Smart TV or your favourite app store. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We'll see you then.